Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Pikel with League of Items, and I'm going to make a shorter NFL video this week. I wasn't able to set something up with Billy. Our schedules kind of went insane because of Worlds and work. So I'm just going to go through how I'm looking at things. Make sure you check out Twitter just in case Billy has any good info. I'll retweet it. But let's just go fast. So first up, we have Las Vegas and New England. So Las Vegas is plus 210. The over-under is 47. The spread is 6. New England is minus 245. So that's 30% to 70%. So obviously the Patriots are big favorites. Let's do it like this. So I'm just trying to think I'm trying to put down stuff that I think is going to be relevant for the game. So Derek Carr is a trap if you look at how Russell Wilson did against New England, because Derek Carr is not Russell Wilson. Jacobs should get a big workload, but will most likely be the focus of New England, and New England is normally good at stopping the first option for teams. Henry Ruggs is out. Darren Waller is still the number one target in Oakland, like I've been saying all year. Ruggs being out doesn't vacate a lot of targets, which is important to watch for. Cam, I think, is too expensive. A lot of websites are saying that he's a good play, like one of the top 3 plays, and also a very good value play. But I think that there are better options, and that's basically it. I think that Sony Michel's an interesting running back to look at this week if you need salary savings, but I'm probably not going there either unless I'm playing like a ton of lineups in a GPP. N'Keal Harry and Damiere Byrd are both too cheap. So N'Keal Harry is 4,200. Damiere Byrd is 3,000. Julian Edelman is questionable, but I don't know if there's like an actual chance that Julian Edelman doesn't play. So watch out for that tomorrow. And if Edelman is out, I would definitely want Damiere Byrd, some Damiere Byrd. Next up, Chicago against Atlanta. So Chicago's plus 190, spread is 3.5, over/under is 47. Atlanta's minus 220. So this, some people aren't going to care about this, but I think that it is important. If you look at Chicago, they have green matchups, which means that people will push it more often. I know that a lot of people don't use the website to build and they run it through optimizers, but in single entry and stuff like that, I think the people are more likely to be influenced psychologically by the green number actually being there. I have heard other people talk about it as well. I just think that's a real thing. I would probably bet this game goes under. I think that Atlanta is underrated. I think that Chicago is 2-0, but it doesn't matter. Atlanta's the better team in my opinion. So I will not be playing any Bears. Atlanta played against 2 very good teams so far. I think that's the reason why they gave up so many points. Chicago only scored 17 points against the Giants. I think the Falcons' defense is a very good upside tournament play. So at 2,800, I think they make a lot of sense. Unless you think that Mitchell Trubisky is like good, which most people don't. Gurley's a good price at 5,800. Matt Ryan's probably a little too expensive at 6,600. That's not a price that I like playing Matt Ryan at. Julio is questionable, so if for some reason Julio doesn't play, I'm interested. But Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage are always in play at this point. Hayden Hurst is almost always in play at this point too. Next up, Cincinnati, Philadelphia. Cincinnati and Philadelphia. So Cincinnati's plus 190, spread's 47.5. That's one of the 5 highest spreads of the week. The spread is 5. So let's go back to the notes. Joe Burrow is surprisingly expensive. He's at 6,200. Carson Wentz is only 5,800. I think Carson Wentz is a good play. They have to get right eventually. Joe Mixon, 5,900, I think is a good price. Miles Sanders, 6,400 is a pretty good price. I'd rather play Tyler Boyd than AJ Green. AJ Green's been getting a ton of targets. We have injuries for Philadelphia in the secondary. So a lot of people might look to Greg Ward or JJ Arcega-Whiteside, but in reality, Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz are going to get more touches. So I would probably want to get some of that into my lineup. The one thing I did consider was double stacking with Joe Burrow. Drew Sample got a lot of targets after Uzama went out, so he got 9 targets last week. I don't think it's a huge deal that they're playing against Philadelphia. I don't know if that matchup is actually good for tight ends or if it's just results oriented right now. So we're not gonna focus too heavily on that, but 3,500 is not that bad. Like I said, I like Tyler Boyd more than AJ Green, and I think that I've heard Tyler Boyd players in the slot do better against Philadelphia than outside. Next up, San Francisco against the Giants. San Francisco is minus 180. Over-under is 42. Spreads 3.5. Giants plus 155. So the Giants are a home dog. Jimmy Garoppolo is not playing. George Kittle's not playing. Raheem Mostert's not playing. Tevin Coleman is not playing. Nick Bosa is not playing. Nick Bosa is not playing, and Solomon Thomas is not playing. So there are a ton of injuries on the side of San Francisco. I think that a real-life bet on the Giants might make sense. I'm a Giants fan. I'm probably biased, but I honestly think that. I think Daniel Jones is interesting at 5,500. I'm not playing Nick Mullins. Jerick McKinnon and Jeff Wilson Jr. I probably don't want to play either of them, but the Giants have gotten beaten up by backup running backs a lot in the past. For the Giants, Devonta Freeman and Deion Lewis, we don't really know how the backfield is going to work out, so I'm not playing either of them in single entry. I think Darius Slayton's a very good play. Golden Tate is somewhat interesting. Probably not playing Tate. Actually, I probably am playing Tate. Not in a single entry where I'm trying to force him in, but if he fits with salary, I think that's fine. But since this game is going under, since I think this game might go under, the only exposure that I would get is like Daniel Jones plus Darius Slayton, Golden Tate, Evan Ingram, like 2 of those players. Maybe get Jordan Reed coming back. Maybe get... that's probably it. I don't love these other players. Kendrick Bourne is a touchdown maker. At the end of last season, he scored a lot of touchdowns, but that's about it. Mohamed Sanu would be interesting. He's only 3,000, but I don't know if he's actually going to play or not. He suited up, I think, last week, but he didn't get on the field. Next game, Houston against Pitt. All right, so I think Deshaun Watson is another bounce-back candidate. I'm going to be playing him a lot. Just because he's a good fantasy play, even though he didn't have great performances the past 2 weeks. Big Ben at 6,400 is in play. James Conner, I'm probably not going to play him, but teams have had success against Houston on the ground. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire had, 25 carries for 120 yards or something like that. David Johnson's interesting. Duke Johnson's questionable. Juju. I like a lot of the receivers in this game. So Juju, Deontay Johnson, Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, they're all in play in my opinion. I'll probably have exposure to them. I think Will Fuller's a really good play, but he might be hurt. I don't know. I don't know why he got 0 targets last week. The Ravens did a good job taking him out of the game, I guess. Tannehill and Kirk Cousins. What is this game at? All right, so 49.5. This game seems like it goes under to me. Two running teams, 49.5 seems pretty high. I think a bet on the Vikings outright makes sense, but you're not getting a ton of value there. Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook are both obviously in play. Corey Davis and Adam Humphries are both in play. Justin Jefferson's at 4,200. He was a high draft pick. Maybe he gets more use. I have him on some dynasty teams, so I hope he does better. Moving forward, I think Jonnu is a good play, even though he's 5,200 at this point. I could see like a Tannehill, Derrick Henry, Jonnu Smith stack. It's probably not the best way to build it, but I could see like a Tannehill, Jonnu Smith stack. Or if you just want to play Derrick Henry on his own, I guess I can understand why you'd want to do that as well. Oh, Darrington Evans is coming back. That's somebody I'm going to pay a lot of attention to. He's the change of pace back for the Titans. I think that they could use him in a lot of different ways. And if anything happens to Derrick Henry, I have a ton of Darrington Evans in best ball. So my hope is that Darrington Evans carves out a role in the passing game. And yeah, and like they limit Derrick Henry's touches or like control his workload. So Cousins, Thielen, Jefferson, and Irv are all interesting to me. Let's go next. Washington at Cleveland. The over-under is 45. I kind of like the over on this one. I don't think... I'm not sure. 45 seems low. Let's go this. Baker and Dwayne Haskins, 57, 5,200. The running backs are pretty expensive for Cleveland, which is unfortunate. Like Kareem Hunt, if it was around 5,000, I'd like it more. Nick Chubb at 6,900 is actually probably a good price for him because if he breaks one long touchdown, he will easily pay off his. If he scores one touchdown, he'll get his price tag, the value for that. So I do like Nick Chubb. A little more expensive than I want, though, I think. Odell is a player that I'm going to keep playing. He has huge game upside. Terry McLaurin, same thing. Jarvis Landry, still recovering from offseason hip surgery, but has been fine. Hooper. Logan Thomas, I think a lot of people are going to play Logan Thomas this week at 3,700. I'm not in love with it. Let's go next. Did I have anything else for that? No. All right, Rams against Buffalo. So the fact that Jared Goff is 5,600, I love this spot for Jared Goff. I understand that the Bills are good on defense, but I think this game could kind of blow up in the scoring department. So 46.5, I would probably just go over on that. So if you're looking to get Rams on your team, I think Goff makes a lot of sense. Double stacking with Goff is very good. Darrell Henderson could work. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods are great options. Tyler Higbee. So there are multiple ways that you can double stack this game, which I think is good for lineup construction. You can also get Stephon Diggs in a run back. Jalen Ramsey might be on him. I don't think a lot of people would want to roster Stephon Diggs against Jalen Ramsey, but I get the feeling that Stephon Diggs could still do well against Jalen Ramsey, and it's not really going to take away the deep ball. But if you do think that Jalen Ramsey is going to have a negative impact on Stephon Diggs, maybe that gives you better reason to go after John Brown or Cole Beasley. Dawson Knox is out, so we might even get more intermediate work for Cole Beasley. I also think that the Rams defense is an interesting tournament play because Josh Allen is turnover prone, or at least he has been in the past. On the Buffalo side, Zach Moss is out, so that makes Devin Singletary more interesting. And I said Diggs, Brown, Beasley are all pretty good plays this week, especially if you think it's going over. Next up, Carolina at the Chargers. I don't know what to do against the Chargers. So it's just like McCaffrey's out. I'm not playing Mike Davis. DJ Moore, it doesn't seem like an easy matchup. The Chargers have a good secondary. There could be a lot of pressure created in this game, so maybe the Chargers defense is a good play. But for the Chargers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, and then Joshua Kelly and Austin Eckler, they're both over 50% in terms of snap share. So they do share the field sometimes, but that's basically it for that game. Not one of my favorite games. The Jets against Indianapolis. You're not playing any Jets. Jonathan Taylor is only 7,000, which is a little scary because of what happened in week 1, but this should be a game that Indianapolis wins, and that would give him additional touchdown upside. Maybe it's a good spot for T.Y. Hilton to get a lot of free targets. He's underperformed so far this season. Don't really love any of the plays from there. This is one of my favorite games, Detroit against Arizona. So I think Matt Stafford is a great play. Even at 6,300, the additional upside of playing in a high octane environment against the Cardinals should be good. So because of that, I think Kenny Golladay, hopefully he plays, Marvin Jones Jr., Danny Amendola, Quintez Cephas are all players I'm looking at. I think that for the Cardinals, you can go with Hopkins, Fitzgerald. Kirk is going to be out, so Andy Isabella makes sense. TJ Hawkinson's always in play. Some people have talked about Dan Arnold. I'm not playing him, and I'm not playing either defense because I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, which isn't the most important thing when judging defenses, but it's one of the first things people think about often. So Dallas against Seattle. This is going to be a pretty chalky game to get players from. I think Russ and Dak, in order for them to kill you, they need to have these types of performances again where they get up into the 30 range, where it's certainly possible, but I'm not that afraid. Actually, I guess the more I think about it, the more I like just playing one of them at this number. I'd probably go somewhere else. I think that other players are probably better. Like have similar upside, similar floors, and are less expensive. Zeke and Chris Carson. So Chris Carson just keeps getting a ton of touches. You can always justify playing Chris Carson because of that. Does also get a lot of the receiving work. 6 targets and 3 targets, pretty good. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb are all in play. DK Metcalf and Lockett are always in play. So if you wanted to do a Russ with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and then run it back with either Zeke or one of the receivers, that's fine. Seattle did a good job against the New England rushing attack, and I think New England is going to be one of the better rushing teams this year, so that should carry some weight. But it's not going to stop me from playing Zeke, or it shouldn't stop people from playing Zeke because Zeke is good. Last game, Tampa Bay at Denver. Interesting game. The over-under was, I think, a little high on this. Oh, no. It is low. 43. So with Tampa Bay, you can always play Brady with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. We haven't seen an explosion game from like all three of them at the same time yet, but I think that's going to happen eventually. O.J. Howard's always in play. At this point, I think he's a talented tight end, and Gronk is basically there to block. So I'm not afraid of Gronk. On Denver, Jerry Jeudy is questionable, so we got to watch out for that. KJ Hamler's at a good price, $3,000. KJ Hamler's going to get a lot of touches and a ton of snaps. So that's basically it. I do also like Melvin Gordon. But that's it. Sorry that we couldn't coordinate our schedules this week, but I wanted to give you something to check out anyways. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.